Event, hometown hero Scott "The Real" Harrison will make his first defense of the WBO Featherweight Championship against the Pocket Rocket, former WBC Bantamweight titleist Wayne McCullough. And in our co-feature, another local favorite, the undefeated and very promising, amazing Alex Arthur will square off with South Africa's Patrick Malinga for a vacant marginal junior lightweight crown. We bring you indoors to Braehead Arena on the outskirts of Glasgow, Scotland. A sellout crowd of about 6,000 expected in eager anticipation of tonight's marquee matchup. Favorite son Scott Harrison in the spotlight, and he wants to put on a good show in his own backyard. High expectations here for an all-action showdown with battling Irishman Wayne McCullough. It's fight night in Glasgow. And we take a look at former bantamweight title holder Wayne McCullough's arrival at Braehead earlier tonight with his wife Cheryl and daughter Winona. It's been 6 years since the Pocket Rocket has reigned as a world champion. And at age 32, he knows this could very well be his last chance at glory. For McCullough, the time is now, and the place is here. And this was the arrival of the champion, popular homegrown product Scott Harrison, who figures to benefit from a raucous and partisan crowd tonight. The featherweight division is loaded at the top, and if Harrison can convincingly defeat McCullough, he'll take a big step toward proving he belongs with the very best. Hello again, everybody. Steve Albert ringside from Glasgow, Scotland. Before we get started this evening, let's take a moment to mention the men and women of the coalition forces in the Middle East. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and their families. As for boxing, we have a continuing theme going as we come to you from the United Kingdom for 2 straight broadcasts. In both shows, you'll see beloved young hometown champions taking on vastly experienced former champions. Tonight, former world champion and battle-tested Wayne McCullough, who's fought the best in his weight classes, hoping to go out with a bang, facing a relatively unknown champion trying to get on the worldwide map. In our first look at Scott Harrison here on Showtime Championship Boxing. And then in 2 weeks, another ex-title holder, grizzled veteran Vince Phillips, will meet the up-and-coming Ricky Hatton, who receives the rock star treatment in his native Manchester, England. So aside from boxing on the American scene, we bring you some international flavor as well. And with that, let me bring on my ringside partner, Showtime boxing analyst Steve Farhood. And Steve, how would you compare and contrast the backgrounds of Scott Harrison and Wayne McCullough?
Well, Steve, some of the contrasts make this a very intriguing matchup by themselves. For instance, McCullough, the Irishman from Belfast, and Harrison, the Glaswegian, who hopes to be known as a great Scot. McCullough, former world champion, 32 years old. He's fought everybody. Harrison, 25 years old, just recently won a slice of the featherweight title. He hopes to fight everybody. But I think what makes this such a good matchup is timing, because Wayne McCullough has a way in all of his big fights of making the battle as much about will as skill. And at this point in Harrison's career, he not only needs a test like that, but craves one. So we know all about Wayne McCullough. Tonight we're going to learn about Scott Harrison.
Sounds like the Glaswegians favor your answer. Cheering in the background for Steve. Whether it's hype or reality, there's a perception of bad blood between the two fight camps, particularly the managers, Frank Maloney, who handles Scott Harrison, and Cheryl McCullough, also Wayne's wife, have sparred verbally throughout the build-up with disparaging remarks. Our UK correspondent and British boxing columnist Colin Hart has more.
Thanks, Steve. If a Scotsman and an Irishman had a fight in a Glasgow pub on a Saturday night, they would clear the bar in seconds. The same scenario is going to apply when Harrison and McCullough get in the ring tonight. Both fighters have great respect for each other, although there's no love lost between them. The same can't be said of the two camps. Cheryl McCullough, who is Wayne's wife as well as his manager, looks like a demure young lady, but in actual fact she is fiercely protective of her husband and has a waspish turn of phrase. She has angered Frank Maloney, who's Harrison's manager, all week by suggesting that Harrison is nothing more than a third-rate champion. Maloney, for his part, has upset Cheryl because he ridicules her for taking McCullough on the pads in the gym. He said if McCullough could punch, he would break her arms. So the stage is set for what should be a thrilling fight. Back to you now, Steve.
All right, Colin. Frank Maloney, a puckish character who once considered running for mayor of London, behind most of the mischief, allegedly fueling the spat in an effort to promote more interest in the fight. It is nighttime here in the working class town of Glasgow, Scotland. Population approximately 1 million people. Glad to have you with us for tonight's transatlantic telecast in co-production with our good friends at B-Sky BTV. Our thanks for their cooperation and assistance. Let's get to it. We close in on our first bout as unbeaten British super featherweight champion Alex Arthur, a local product, meets Patrick Malinga for a vacant fringe 130-pound title. And a look at Patrick Malinga with his first fight away from his native South Africa. One of 4 boxing brothers. His cousin, former super middleweight champ Sugar Boy Malinga, following in the footsteps of his father and trainer Jabulani. 13-3-2 with 11 knockouts, all 3 losses by TKO. Once considered a prospect, Steve, unbeaten his first 10, but unsuccessful when he stepped up. Took this on just 2 weeks' notice. Is he a suitable opponent?
Well, he's a substitute, and as is often the case with substitutes, I doubt he's going to go the distance. He doesn't seem durable, and against a puncher like Arthur, that could be a problem.
Could be a tough night for Malinga. Now to bring in the crowd favorite Alex Arthur, to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the first of our championship attractions of the evening. And now, making his way to the ring, please welcome the British champion from Edinburgh, Scotland, Alex Arthur.
Amazing Alex Arthur from Edinburgh, British and Commonwealth 130-pound champion, although those titles not at stake tonight. Very engaging, friendly young man. You see him saluting the crowd. 99 amateur wins, 14-0 with 12 knockouts as a pro. Rated number 6 by the WBO, which may be a generous rating. This is one hot commodity here in the United Kingdom, Steve. Some here actually liken him to a future Ken Buchanan, one of the great Scottish champions, and his friend and idol. That is high praise.
Ken Buchanan, if he has a tough look on his face, it's because he still feels the effects of that punch Duran hit him below the belt with. But Arthur, just a prospect. Let's not get carried away with the comparisons.
Lightweight champ from 1970, representing Scotland, Ken Buchanan, and this man, Alex Arthur, hoping to be a future world champion. As we check the numbers, Arthur a year younger at 24, the height identical, 2-inch reach advantage for Malinga. At yesterday's weigh-in, both came in just under the 130-pound limit. And a look at the key rules now. There is no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th, it's a technical draw. If it happens after the end of 4, they go to the scorecards. So here at Braehead Arena in Glasgow, Scotland, we're getting ready for Alex Arthur versus Patrick Malinga. It's scheduled for 12 rounds. This is the first of 2 fights here tonight, with the big main event between Scott Harrison and Wayne McCullough for the WBO featherweight crown. Let's get it up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr., for the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Braehead Arena here in Glasgow, Scotland, as we have a big night of action in store for you, and it's all brought to you courtesy of Frank Warren's Sports Network in association with Showtime, Sky Sports, and sponsored by Red Square and Ladbrokes. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the WBA, the president, Gilberto Mendoza, supervisor Juan Luis Torralba, along with the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Bernard Connolly. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Wolverhampton, England, we have John Coyle. From Birmingham, England, Terry O'Connor. And from London, England, Dave Paris. Our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, is from Derby, England, Paul Thomas. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBA International Super Featherweight Championship. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with gold gold trim, joining us all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. He weighed in at 9 stone, 3.5 pounds, or 129 1/2 U.S. pounds. His record stands at 13 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, with 11 big wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the hard-hitting Patrick Malinga. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, this 12-round title bout, wearing white trunks with gold trim, representing his home of Edinburgh, Scotland. His weight, ladies and gentlemen, 9 stone, 3 3/4 pounds, 129 3/4 U.S. pounds. He is the former Commonwealth gold medalist, undefeated in his campaign to the ring as a professional, with 14 wins, no losses, 12 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked number 6 in the world by the WBO as a junior lightweight contender. Please welcome the British champion, the undefeated, amazing Alex Arthur. Once again, Paul Thomas is our referee in charge. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled.
So you're both in the dressing room, you know what I expect of you. Just to repeat myself just once, keep your shots on the target area. Nothing around the back, nothing in the kidney area. Give me a good, clean contest. The best of luck to both of you. Well done.
Final instructions from the third man, Paul Thomas. Amazing Alex Arthur. While many in these parts feel he's destined for stardom, he is still a work in progress. Patrick Malinga, from a strong family boxing background. Not sure he's quite in the same league as Arthur, skill-wise and punching-wise. Round 1 scheduled for 12. Arthur in the white trunks with the gold trim. Malinga in the very short black trunks with the gold trim. Sort of a throwback to the old days of the 60s and 70s. Arthur seems very proficient. I know you saw him on Showbox, the new generation. Very proficient offensively, but a bit too reckless, perhaps, defensively.
Yeah, you just saw him get hit with the right hand on cue, Steve. He's listening to you.
Okay.
No, he's a real good offensive fighter with a big left hook, and Malinga told us he would move for at least a couple of rounds to try to get into the fight and take away that body punching of Arthur.
Arthur calls himself a boxer by nature. He goes to the Harrison gym as he pushes Malinga back. Harrison, the father of main event fighter Scott Harrison. He travels 100 miles a day to train from Edinburgh to Glasgow. He said at that gym they encourage aggressive, so that's why he has to become more of a puncher as well as a boxer. He's never been down as a pro or amateur. 112 amateur fights or so, 100 to 112, and 14 pro fights.
So far, Steve, Arthur landing the right hand. I want to see what happens when he lands the left hook. That's his big punch, and I have to think Malinga's a little bit nervous. It's his first fight outside of his homeland.
A member of the Zulu tribe from Johannesburg, South Africa. Yeah, that signature punch, the left hook you alluded to, he patterns after the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez, he told us. But he does have a tendency to stick his jaw out too frequently, which of course would be an inviting target for anyone. He has been fortunate thus far, given the level of opposition, which is why it's kind of difficult to believe he's number 6 in the eyes of the WBO.
Well, that rating is absurd. Alex Arthur is a prospect. I don't care if he's already a 12-round fighter.
Yeah, he's only had 14 pro fights, and he really hasn't had anybody notable on his ring record. The most notable on the ring record of Malinga, I mentioned he's a member of the Zulu tribe, was Matthew Zulu. But he lost. He got overwhelmed in that fight en route to a 9th round TKO loss. We approach the final 30 seconds of round 1. It's scheduled for 12 for something called the WBA International 130-pound Championship.
Arthur not really turning the heat up yet. He's kind of checking his guy out. Only getting hit in counter situations. When he concentrates on defense, he doesn't get hit.
Malinga a little off balance. Overhand right by Arthur. But it didn't faze the man from South Africa. Round set for keys to victory from our Steve Farhood. Steve?
This is what Alex Arthur needs. Aim to the body. Arthur's hook, his best punch, it's what distinguishes him. Establish his edge and power. If Arthur gets off early, he'll take the fight right out of Malinga. And don't ignore defense. Arthur has to remember to move his head after he punches. And for Patrick Malinga, counter, don't lead. Malinga has to hope Arthur is sloppy in his attack. Shoot the straight right. Simply put, that is Malinga's only chance. And stay off the ropes. If Malinga is square, he will take a beating.
Alex Arthur fighting pro since November 2000. Started boxing when he was 10, always looked up to local legend Ken Buchanan, as we mentioned, the former lightweight champion. Alex's father didn't allow him to fight, but he went to prison for a while. It was then, when his dad was away, that young Alex took up the sport. At 18, won the silver medal at the European Games. That was the start of his success. But the high point was the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in 1998 in Malaysia. Arthur wearing the white trunks with the gold trim and hearing the singing and chanting from his supporters here in the crowd in Glasgow. Arthur from Edinburgh, about an hour away. You know that he fought Rocky Juarez? Arthur, in the '99 World Championships in Houston, in the hometown of Rocky.
And maybe that's why Rocky got the decision. I know it was a very close decision.
Close 5-3 decision to Rocky, who went on to win the gold in that tournament. Of course, the Olympic silver medal. Malinga takes a look over to his corner. Fortunately, Arthur wasn't firing a punch at the time.
Malinga did a good job this second round, landing right hands. He's fighting at the distance he wants to fight, and Arthur's having trouble getting close.
Malinga coming forward. To the surprise of many here. There's that left hook to the body by Arthur. The fans want to see more.
Well, you can see what's happening. Malinga's having a lot of offensive success. As a result, he's right there to be hit, and Arthur's landing heavy as well now.
Malinga landing a right uppercut on the inside. And the aggressor here in round two. Arthur able to connect. Anytime he even comes close, you'll hear the crowd react. There's a good right hand by Arthur on the head. That snapped Malinga's head back. Malinga shoots an overhand right. And he scored with that one.
Alex Arthur's in a fight, and I did not expect that.
Neither did I after looking at tapes of Malinga. Malinga very game. And not only game, but showing some offense. There's another right hand over the top that connected by Malinga. Now back comes Arthur, but not a sustained attack. Malinga just walking into a left jab, another jab by Arthur, follows it up with a right, but a glancing blow. Arthur with a heavy right hand to the jaw. Developing into a better fight.
Okay, you're moving in his way on all the time. Right, just check back a wee bit. He's bleeding. He's bleeding. He's good. Good punches you're throwing. Nice straight punches. Get up. No, just maybe hit a wee bit. Right. But make sure you're moving left on left. Left on left. The twos are circling in there all the time. I know. He can hit you with right hand, you can hit him with right hand.
From round two, which was a big one for Malinga. We said Arthur can get sloppy when he's on the attack. Malinga, wide left hook, and Arthur was there because he didn't move his head at all. Didn't bend, and he looked discouraged there. You could see he sort of made a face, a grimace. But Arthur did come back. Malinga got aggressive, and that gave Arthur the opportunity. You see Malinga leaning in right there. When he leaned in, Arthur banged him with the right hand. And Malinga, later in the round, I gave Malinga counter right hook, right hand. Again, Arthur getting countered when he's over aggressive, punching from too far away.
Good round for Malinga. who started his career with a bang, mostly against limited opposition, going 9-0-1 out of the gate. Arthur scoring with the right hand there. Malinga had several first-round knockouts, but a different story when the quality of competition improved. He's 4-3-1 in his last 8, and all 3 losses by technical knockout. He's 13-3-2 with 11 knockouts. Malinga in the black with the gold trim. Arthur, the hometown favorite, 14-0 with 12 knockouts, and the white with the gold piping. Once again, it's Malinga, the one who is on the attack.
Well, we haven't seen that signature punch of Arthur, the left hook to the body, largely because Malinga has been effective with the right, and Arthur hasn't been close enough to throw it. Seems Arthur has to relax a little bit more. Maybe he's a little over-aggressive and tight, and as a result, when they both punch, Malinga's faster.
Perhaps fighting in front of the hometown crowd has something to do with that. It's a big card with the WBO Featherweight Championship. Stablemate Scott Harrison, the headliner. Perhaps there are some butterflies, and he's trying to work them out. We're in round 3.
You got jab, Alex!
Malinga probably coming in a lot looser, feeling what does he have to lose. Right hand scoring by Arthur. Arthur now setting up the right hand with the jab. It's scored with the left uppercut to the chin. Arthur's never been down, pro or amateur. Malinga's been down at least a couple of times. Arthur has knockouts in 3 rounds or less, 8 of his 12 KOs. For Malinga, all 11 of his KOs in 3 rounds or less, and we're in round 3. Under a minute remaining of the 3rd, scheduled for 12 for a fringe title at 130. Right hand there, across the cheek, a nice right cross by Arthur. But we're still waiting for that signature left hook to the body, as Steve pointed out.
Yeah, he's landed it once or twice this round, but a left hook to the body, especially in a long fight, it's the kind of punch that if you don't land it often, it doesn't have as much of an effect. It takes a cumulative effect.
And he was really talking it up in the fighter meeting with him yesterday. Now he watched tapes endlessly of Julio Cesar Chavez, the master of that punch. As we head for the bell in round 3. Well, let's send it over to a pair of distinguished-looking gentlemen, Colin Hart with Ken Buchanan.
Right, thanks, Steve. I'm with Ken Buchanan, Scotland's former world lightweight champion. How do you think Arthur's going in this fight so far?
It's a hard wee fight for him, like, you know, but he's throwing a lot of punches, Alec, like, you know, but a lot of them he's dropping short with them, like, you know. I don't know whether he's just been very wary of the guy or not, because he's probably felt he's got a couple of his punches and he's maybe a harder punch than what they made him out to be. But I'd like to see Alex throwing a wee bit. If he's going to throw a punch, make sure the bloody thing lands, you know.
Right. But now, you've known Alex for a long time. How old were you when you first know him?
He must have been about 10-year-old when I first met him, like, you know.
And you advise him from time to time, don't you?
Oh, we talk on the phone, we blather away, I go to the gym and that, like.
You think he'll win a world title?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks very much. Back to Steve.
Cheers.
All right, Colin, thank you very much. Yes, they have compared Alex Arthur to a latter-day Ken Buchanan, who was perhaps more popular in the United States than in Scotland when he fought. In fact, on one particular fight card at Madison Square Garden, he had top billing over Muhammad Ali. Ken Buchanan, one of the all-time greats.
And Buchanan didn't get hit. He was a master boxer. He didn't get hit like Arthur's getting hit, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Arthur's defense very questionable here in the early stages of his career. It's only his 15th pro fight. And they may be a little premature, as you mentioned earlier, in forecasting a world championship. He says he's in no hurry, but he's certainly not deserving of being number 6 in the WBO rankings. He just hasn't fought enough high-caliber competition to earn that. And you can see he's having his problems here with a nondescript opponent, Patrick Malinga.
It just seems Malinga's in rhythm. You know, his punches are flowing. Not the case with Arthur, who's reaching back. His right hand has been effective, but there have been very, very precious few left hooks.
Also, as mentioned, Malinga very loose. Perhaps also because he only had a couple of weeks to prepare. Sometimes that works in your favor, yes?
He didn't have time to get he's fearful, I guess.
Nervous, right.
Now, when they were in close like that, and they were only in close for a few seconds, Arthur has to take advantage. That's when he has to muscle his man and get that left hook going. There's a good one.
Arthur, the British Commonwealth 130-pound champion, the British 130-pound champion. In his first British title defense back in December, he was not particularly in top form in a 6-round TKO over a very durable and brave fighter named Carl Greaves. Arthur sloppy at times and easy to hit, but also poised and methodical. His mouth was bloodied in the third, but Arthur staggered Greaves in the fourth and dominated most of the bout, rocking Greaves with a series of punches in the sixth before it was stopped. Well, let's see if things pick up for Arthur here. "30 seconds remaining in the fourth. It's scheduled for 12. Countering right hand by Malinga. He's got answers.
He does, Stephen. Arthur just doesn't move his head. Something that's really common among the British, the better British prospects. A lot of them just don't have the head movement American fighters have.
That was one of the great things about Mike Tyson early in his career, the head movement, which of course has diminished with time.
Alex Arthur, where is the left hook? That's his signature punch. And that was about as flush. He led with the punch. He didn't jab and then hook. Maybe that's why it landed, because he hasn't been featuring that. Malinga wasn't ready for it. Later in the round, Arthur stepping straight back. Gets the receipt, the right hand from Malinga. Again, no head movement.
Almost 10 seconds.
Jabulani, the father and trainer of Patrick Malinga, a former lightweight fighter himself in the pros, and what a family, my goodness. Patrick's boxing brothers, Peter, former South African national champion, Samuel, a fighter, Vusi, a southpaw, just 21, according to Patrick, the best of the Malinga brothers, and the cousin and most famous of the Malingers, Tulani Sugarboy, former WBC super middleweight champ, who beat an aging Nigel Benn in England in '96. We were here to broadcast that fight on Showtime Championship Boxing.
You and Sugarboy have remained very close.
Very close friends. In fact, after that fight, when Ben lost, he got down on one knee and proposed to his future wife. Round 5 scheduled for 12.
It's a long fight, Steve, and I think Arthur knows that, and he feels if he can just continually pressure Malinga, he'll be okay. Last round, there were a few seconds there where Arthur actually went into boxing mode, moved backward. I don't think that's a very good idea. He's got to pressure Malinga, get close so he can land the hook.
And I think Peter Harrison in the corner would agree with you, because as mentioned earlier, Arthur believes by nature he's a boxer, but they teach aggression at the Peter Harrison gym, and they want to see more of that from Alex Arthur. Well, he's trying to mix it up here, is Arthur in the white trunks. Oh, a big right hand over the top to the jaw of Arthur by Malinga. That got his attention. Poking right through the gloves by Arthur, but not much behind it. who seems content to be there. Didn't seem to bother him.
Yeah, he punched right away, discouraged Arthur, and Arthur stepped back. I don't understand that.
Did Arthur exhibit more power in his punches the last time you saw him? Of course, it was against a different opponent.
Yeah, that opponent, he just pounded on for about 5 rounds till it was stopped. This fight, the only punches he's landing are those straight rights. And he hasn't hurt Malinga yet at all. Not a bad idea by Arthur right there, jabbing to the body a little bit.
Then he let fly with a left uppercut to the jaw of Malinga. There's a left hook upstairs by Arthur that sent the South African reeling a bit.
Right. Don't chaos now. Okay. Don't start showing off too much. I know it. Okay. Catch some nice punches now. Into these cocky was being flat. Oh, that's right. That's what I'm trying to. Yeah, drink a minute out.
All fight long, Malinga has been successful with the right hand. If you want to see why, just take a look here. Alex Arthur's hands, both hands were down. And if he's not going to move his head and he's not going to block a punch, he's going to get hit flush. And now here you see later in round 5, Malinga against the ropes, but he's the one punching. Arthur doesn't take advantage, and what happens? Arthur throws right hand, steps a full 2 steps back. You wonder why.
Jab. Don't let him read the single jab. Good.
Obviously a very forgiving crowd here in Glasgow, Scotland, cheering on the Edinburgh native in the white trunks, Alex Arthur. But I'm sure they, like us, waiting for him to unleash a few bombs. Nice left jab, but he didn't follow it up with anything. It's one and done. Very systematic and methodical, Arthur. I'm just not sure what he has in mind here.
Well, one thing's for sure, he is fighting his opponent's fight. Because all Malinga really offers is a 1-2. Malinga has no left hook to speak of.
He punched so hard he fell off balance. And hit nothing but air. This is the Scottish equivalent of the chant Air Ball. Jumps on Malinga, who is hurt. A series of punches by Arthur. Malinga in trouble. Malinga stunned, looks to hold on. And he's got a long way to go, 1:20 in round 6.
And what punch did it start with, Steve? A left hook to the head. First solid punch he's landed with the left hand.
Malinga looking to hang on. Hard body shots by Arthur. As we approach a minute remaining. This could be a long minute for Malinga if he makes it. Oh, upstairs, and that's it. Referee Paul Thomas says that's enough. It's over in round 6. Well, I guess that's what Alex Arthur had in mind. He was just waiting for the opening, Steve.
Boy, I guess he got tired of listening to us criticize him and for not throwing the left hand. One left hook to the head, that's all it took. Malinga's legs turned to rubber and the fight was basically over at that point.
He got stunned initially at the 112 mark of round 6. And then it was just a matter of time. And now for the 4th time in his 4 losses, Malinga loses by technical knockout. Alex Arthur victorious for the 15th time, and he wins a vacant fringe title called the WBA International 130-pound belt. Even though he won the fight, and very convincingly in round 6, were you a little surprised at the length of the fight, Steve Farhood?
Yes, I was. I really thought this was 3 or 4 maximum. The good news for Arthur, he stayed patient. Things weren't working out that well early. He was getting hit by a lot of straight right hands, but he stayed patient. And when he did land the big shot, at least it had the desired effect, so we know his rep as a puncher is legitimate.
So he's able to do it here in his own backyard of Scotland.
And this is where it all started, the one left hook by Alex Arthur to the head. There was a counter punch because Malinga extended that right hand. Arthur almost suckered him in there. Arthur was nearer the ropes, and you could see Malinga, the wide stance, and he's done at this point. It's a question of how many punches Arthur can land. Watch Arthur. Hook. Yeah, back to the ropes, Arthur. It's like as if he suckered him, and then boom. He had to be looking for that punch. It was beautifully set up.
Yeah, he was on unsteady legs from that point on.
And at this point, Malinga was grabbing desperately, didn't want any more, and the referee did Malinga a favor.
Arthur remains undefeated, going to 15-0 with 13 knockouts, set for the official time from our ring announcer, Mr. Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 3 seconds in round number 6. Our referee in charge, Paul Thomas, stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout, still undefeated, and now the new WBA International Super Featherweight Champion, amazing Alex Arthur.
So Alex Arthur being cheered on by the hometown fans, being talked about here in Scotland as a future world champion, but needs to step up the quality of opposition at this point, don't you think?
Yeah, this fight was good in that he fought a guy who he should have gotten rid of maybe a little earlier, but he got 6 rounds of work in. The only 2 times in his career Alex Arthur's gone the distance were 4-round fights. So forget that WBO number 6 stuff. That's nonsense. He's a prospect, and he needs some good 10-round opposition before we even talk about him fighting a contender.
So Alex Arthur posing for post-fight pictures. Patrick Malinga drops to 13-4-2. Coming up next from Scotland, our main event, a highly anticipated showdown here in Glasgow for the WBO featherweight title as Scott Harrison defends in front of his hometown fans against former world champion Wayne McCullough. But first, here's what's coming up next month on Showtime Boxing. In 2 weeks, we bring you exciting 140-pound action as Ricky the Hitman Hatton faces former world champion Cool Vince Phillips. Plus, Junior Witter takes on Jürgen Hake in a 12-round affair beginning at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, Saturday, April 5th from Manchester, England. Then on Thursday, April 24th, it's the return of Showbox, the new generation, as we present some of the best young talent in boxing. Catch Showbox, the new generation, at its new date and time, beginning Thursday, April 24th at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, and airing every other Thursday at 11 p.m. It's boxing the way it used to be. Hope you can join us for our next edition of Showtime Championship Boxing next month. Guaranteed fun and excitement whenever Ricky Hatton enters the ring in Manchester. Well, the big crowd here in Glasgow getting geared up for the main event. Let's sneak a peek behind the scenes here at Braehead. First, the pocket rocket. In recent years, Irish eyes haven't always been smiling on Wayne McCullough following his 1999 loss to Eric Morales. The British Boxing Board of Control revealed through a routine MRI that McCullough had a cyst on his brain. After more than 2 years out of the ring and visits to countless neurosurgeons, McCullough received a clean bill of health and resumed his career. Well, it's been a rocky road for the former champ, but due to his strong will, as well as the unflagging support of his family, he's managed to persevere. When it appeared his career could be over, Wayne McCullough relied on the support and love of his manager and wife, Cheryl, and their young daughter, Winona.
You know, I was depressed a bit and, you know, angry and frustrated and a little bit scared too still, because they kept telling me that they had daggers that said I'm going to die with a blow to the head.
It almost felt as if he was there, but he wasn't really. You know, he was just there in body, but the rest of him just wasn't there.
My wife has been, as I say, the backbone, and I thank God for her, I really do.
With his medical issues resolved and his boxing license reissued, McCullough has won 3 fights by knockout and appears to be in top form.
just getting it back again, just stepping in the ring, for me, is just enjoyable. I just enjoy getting into the ring. And it's not about the money, I haven't made money. It's just about getting into the ring.
But now he faces the challenge of WBO featherweight champ Scott Harrison.
It's an opportunity if he can come around the full circle, and the circle is completed, so I'm ready to be a champion. And I say that Scott Harrison gave me the opportunity, and I want to take it.
With the love of his family, Wayne McCullough is confident he can once again restore the luster to his career and regain a world title.
Winning the championship the first time is fantastic, but because of what's happened with the brain scan stuff and being announced as a new world champion, it's really unbelievable, really. I'm just really looking forward to it.
Clearly, McCullough has won the fight for the right to fight. Whether he wins tonight will largely determine whether it was all worth it. As we stand by for Harrison versus McCullough, our featured attraction from Scotland. And right now, let's take you into the dressing room of the champion, Scott Harrison, making final preparations for the former champ. Through the latter half of the 90s, the Scottish boxing scene was stagnant. Prior to Harrison, junior flyweight champ Paul Weir in 1995 was Scotland's claim to fame. But last October, Scott Harrison revitalized boxing in these parts by winning a slice of the featherweight title. Yet Harrison is fully aware that keeping it from McCullough will be his toughest assignment to date. '70s heroes Ken Buchanan and Jim Watt are among Scotland's most prominent world champions. But now, hoping to join them is recently crowned WBO featherweight king Scott Harrison.
When you're younger, you've got to dream. If you don't dream, it doesn't happen. So that was my dream, to defend a world title. No, definitely Glasgow, Scotland.
Last year, the unheralded 25-year-old faced Julio Pablo Chacon with 17 victories and one thing in mind: to win another world title for Scotland. 12 convincing rounds later, Harrison accomplished his goal and moved one step closer to becoming a national hero.
Unbelievable. See the hairs in the back of my neck, they stood right up, and to see everybody in the crowd and all the fans going crazy. It was unbelievable. Words can't describe it.
Now, in his first title defense, Harrison faces a stern test against former WBC bantamweight champion Wayne McCullough.
I'm not looking for any easy fights. I want to go down in history as being one of the best fighters ever to come out of the country. I've trained for 8 hard weeks, and I'm a winner. I'm just ready to go and defend my world title.
Harrison realizes a victory here in his homeland could make him a major force in the competitive featherweight division and solidify his place in the annals of Scottish boxing history.
Glasgow's Scott Harrison.
Well, it seems clear to Scott Harrison that he's fighting not just for himself, but for the entire country. How he'll handle that pressure remains to be seen. Back here with my partner, Steve Farhood. And Steve, there's no question that McCullough has more experience than Harrison. He's got a better quality of opposition, but he basically fights one way. Could that be a big factor?
Steve, I don't think that that's as much of an advantage for Harrison as some people might think, because just because McCullough fights a certain way and Harrison knows what's coming doesn't mean Harrison can deal with it. How do you prepare for potentially 150 punches around? You don't prepare by fighting Chacon, who was very passive. You don't prepare by fighting Tom Johnson or Tracy Patterson, who were faded. So even though McCullough is bringing it every round, I don't know if Harrison's ready for that.
Another factor, perhaps, Steve, has McCullough been in too many tough battles?
In this way, I think actually his career has worked out for him. He's had a lot of stops and starts in his career, the cyst on the brain, and also problems promotionally. As a result, hey, the guy's had less than 30 fights at this point in his career. Given the fact that he takes so much punishment, fewer fights is better for Wayne McCullough.
And Scott Harrison hopes that after tonight, this fight will be added to that list. In fact, Harrison predicts he will be the first fighter to stop Wayne McCullough, even predicted around round 8 or 9. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at how they stack up on paper as we check out the tale of the tape. Here's how they size up. Harrison at 25, 7 years younger than McCullough. Not much difference in height, 2.5-inch edge in reach for the champion. At yesterday's weigh-in, speculation that Harrison had some trouble making weight, even looking a little gaunt to the regulars who see him. And the notable rules for this world title fight: there's no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th, it's a no decision. If it happens after the end of 4, they go to the cards. So here at Braehead Arena in Glasgow, Scotland, we're getting set for our main event. Scott Harrison versus Wayne McCullough for the WBO Featherweight Championship. The ring walks straight away. We go to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. Some cheers from the crowd here. 30 minutes away is Belfast, Northern Ireland. So he's got some support. The seasoned veteran, one of boxing's good guys, well respected, very confident, determined, and fit. But nearing 33, has to realize this could be his last opportunity for a world title. But 2 years ago, never thought he'd be here after what he's been through. Former WBC bantamweight champion Wayne McCullough from Las Vegas by way of Belfast. About his work rate or his chin. The wonder is, will he be easy to hit? If you thought this was loud, wait till you hear the introduction from Jimmy Lennon Jr. and what happens after that.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way
reception for the young, fresh, perhaps stronger Glasgow product, Scott Harrison. Many here calling this his defining fight as he returns to the scene of his coronation as champion 5 months ago with an impressive victory over a smaller Julio Pablo Chacon. The fans welcoming in their fighter in thunderous fashion. Harrison is so cherished here is that since 1928 there have been a grand total of only 10 world champions from Scotland, and depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on, it could be 8.
Ken Buchanan, probably the best known of those, and Jim Watt. But Benny Lynch ruined his career and his life with alcohol. He was the best Scottish fighter of all time. That's who Harrison, those are the kind of names Harrison is trying to match.
Some believe Johnny Hill and Murray Sutherland shouldn't be included. Sutherland was born here but moved to Canada at an early age. Never fought in Scotland. Was based in Bay City, Michigan when he won the IBF title. And Hill was born in Scotland, but only 2 of his 23 fights were here in Scotland. No mistake about where this guy's from. He's from Scotland. His name is Scott Harrison, and this fervent crowd rallying behind Harrison, which really has to fire him up against former world champion Wayne the Pocket Rocket McCullough. We're set to go back to our ring announcer for the introductions, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
In association with Showtime and Sky Sports, and sponsored by Red Square and Ladbrokes. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the WBO President Francisco Balcasa, the supervisors Charles Giles, along with the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Bernard Connolly. Our physicians at ringside, Dr. Gordon Duff, Dr. Bernard Tansey, Dr. Christopher Greenball, and Dr. Graham Stead. Our timekeepers at the bell tonight, we have Jim Russell and Eric Gilmore. Introducing to you our three judges, scoring this bout from ringside, from Alice, Texas, in the United States, Dr. Ruben Garcia. From Brussels, Belgium, Andre van Rutenbroek. And from Leeds, England, we have Mickey Van. Our third man in the ring, the referee in charge of this bout is from Wolverhampton, England, introducing John Coyle. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans, joining us around the world from Glasgow, Scotland, it's Showtime! Introducing to you first, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger on my left. Fighting out of the ring in the corner, wearing silver trunks with black and purple trim, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States, by way of Belfast, Northern Ireland. He weighed in at 8 stone, 13 pounds, or 125 U.S. pounds, with a record of 26 wins, 3 losses. He has 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, he is currently ranked the number 7 WBO featherweight contender in the world. Please welcome the former WBC Featherweight Champion of the and his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion, Ricky Productions, his fans in his hometown. Wearing black coat, silk gold, and he proudly represents his home of Glasgow, Scotland. His weight, 8 stone, 15 3/4 pounds, or 125 3/4 U.S. pounds. His record stands at 18 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is making the first defense of his title. Here is the Featherweight Champion of the world, known as the Real McCoy, introducing Scott Harrison. And once again, referee in charge, John Coyle, now to give instructions, 12 rounds of championship boxing schedule.
Gentlemen, I just ask 3 things: obey the rules, obey my instructions, and let's see good sportsmanship. Shake hands, good luck to you both. Back to your corner.
Two fighters with prodigious work rates. The elements of an all-action fight. We'll see who gets the first bit of respect early between two tough competitors, but in an environment that favors the champion, Scott Harrison, will have the hometown crowd singing and chanting. Scott Harrison in the black with the gold trim. Wayne McCullough in the silver trunks with the black and purple trim. Harrison, the first featherweight champion from Scotland since the division was recognized in 1890. Former British Commonwealth champ has won 15 straight. He's 18-1-1 with 9 knockouts, his lone defeat early in his career. Wins over former champions Julio Chacon, Steve Robinson, Tom Johnson, Tracy Patterson, the last 3 well past their prime. Wayne McCullough 3-0 with 3 knockouts since being medically cleared against obscure competition. Tonight should be a much stiffer test for the Pocket Rocket. He's only ever been beaten in world title fights with Daniel Zaragoza, Prince Nassim Hamed, and Eric Morales.
And Steve, you knew there would be no feeling out process. You could see these two, partially because of the electricity in this arena, wanted to tear at each other during Jimmy Lennon's introduction. And sure enough, look at them bomb away from the start.
Tremendous intensity at the outset. Both being very methodical and systematic after a fast start now.
Harrison has already gotten McCullough's respect. Right now it's Harrison coming forward.
If McCullough can avoid Harrison's punches, we wonder if he can outwork Harrison and win on points. Keeping in mind he's fighting in the champion's own backyard.
Steve, I think it's a mistake if Harrison gets too careful. Everything he's thrown so far, he's landed.
Big right hand on the jaw by Scott Harrison. Best punch so far unleashed by the champion, to the joy of this crowd. McCullough has fought competitively only 10 rounds since October 1999.
Can Wayne McCullough win by boxing? Not at all what we expected. He has done it in the past. He did it with Robin Alice early in his career, but that's not really his style. And if Harrison is bigger, stronger, and coming forward, it doesn't bode well for the Pocket Rocket.
Okay, listen to this right here, okay? Listen. Pocket. You all right? All right. Listen. Give me Vaseline. Pocket. Same thing we plan to do, baby. Take my jab. I need to be light. I can't stay in front of him so much, all right? I need to be light. We need to fill him for a round. I need to jab him in the face. Keep my hands out. You drop your hands, you standing right in front of him, right?
Harrison, early on in this round, discovered that whatever he threw was going to land, so he got on the attack late in the round when McCullough was boxing. Hook right, nothing coming back from McCullough of consequence. Harrison moving a little bit to the side after he punches. Here's the same sequence, and watch the accuracy of the Harrison punches. I mean, those are flush on the head. Wayne McCullough's got a great chin, we know that, but that doesn't mean he has to prove it every 30 seconds or so.
According to our friends at GFX Limited, Scott Harrison threw 75 punches, landed 25 of them in the opening round. McCullough threw 79 and landed 23 in round 1.
And Steve, if you see McCullough throwing less than 100 punches around, what it means is that he's far away from Harrison. It's not his kind of fight, and it'll be that much more difficult for him to win. 79 sounds like a lot for any other fighter. It is. For Wayne McCullough, in this fight, it's not enough.
Two extremely busy punchers. Right hand, not much pop behind it by Harrison from too far out. But hearing the roar anyway from the partisan fans. Three of Harrison's 9 knockouts in 3 rounds or less. 6 of McCullough's 17 KOs in 3 rounds or less. Wayne McCullough in the silver trunks, 26-3, 17 knockouts, 3-3 in world title fights.
This is clearly plan B for Wayne McCullough. He did not come into this ring with the intention of boxing Scott Harrison. And if the punches are long and straight, Harrison has a big advantage because his jab and straight right are better than McCullough's.
And Harrison before the fight said whether it's plan A, B, C, D, E, or F, he's going to win. He did predict an 8th or 9th round stoppage, and McCullough has never been stopped, or as mentioned before, never been dropped. A minute to go in the second, scheduled for 12. The WBO 126-pound crown on the line. Harrison in black in his first title defense. Tremendous victory over Julio Pablo Chacon right here in this very ring, a small ring, 17 by 17. Harrison digging to the body now. McCullough continues to throw.
Steve, another problem for McCullough, when they're at a distance, he doesn't do much to the body, and that's one of his strengths. You've seen one left hook to the body this whole round.
And a big difference here tonight, Steve, in this fight could be the power punches of Harrison. Missing wildly with the right there. Scott Harrison in his corner with his dad, Peter.
Get Ray on across as well, Scott. He's way don't far on. Get that tap. Got him under control. Got him under control. Got him under control. I know I see that. You're looking brilliant. Just keep all your punches nice and sharp. Try and put something together.
Early in round two, Harrison, even when he telegraphs and throws from a little far out, he's been landing. McCullough dipping a little bit, but that's not really his defensive style. And Harrison with carte blanche to land whatever he wants from way outside. You saw how long that hook was. McCullough was moving back. And later in the round, who's the fighter coming forward? It's Scott Harrison. And everybody would agree that if we knew that before the start of this fight, you'd make Harrison, instead of the 3-2 favorite he was in the books here, probably an 8-1 favorite.
A very warm arena. Unseasonably mild. There's a good right hand to the jaw by Harrison. Harrison's never been down as well in his 20 fights. Lost to a guy named Miguel Matthews early in his career. His only defeat.
Steve, McCullough doesn't dip much. He doesn't bob and weave, which a lot of pressure fighters do. But remember, he started as a bantamweight. And for a bantamweight, he was pretty tall. So he never really was a bobber and a weaver. As a result, there's not much head movement and not much defense. There never has been. That's why he's gained the rep as having such a great chin, because he gets hit a lot.
He won the bantamweight title over a Japanese fighter in Japan. Made 2 successful defenses. Now he looks for his second title, again on the champion's home turf, this time Scotland.
And not only is Harrison more accurate with his jab, but it's a harder jab than McCullough's.
Could be a key difference in this fight tonight. Straight right hand got the attention of McCullough. Another one. Harrison jumping on McCullough. A quick flurry by the champion Scott Harrison. McCullough showing his strong chin in that previous flurry by Harrison. But a good left by Harrison to the chin.
Harrison mixing his punches beautifully. McCullough back with a hook, but not much on it.
There's a big right hand in that exchange by Harrison. Another right hand that sent McCullough reeling back momentarily. There's the bell. A very anxious wife of Wayne McCullough, wife manager Cheryl McCullough looking on.
Give me some water, guys. Give me some water. Pocket. In and out. Just in. In and out. In and out. In and out, Pocket. And I got to keep rolling my head. I go to him with that jab. You got to get inside with that jab. The same way. Bust him up. But you got to get closer with the right hands. You're not getting your right hand off. You got to counter his right hand.
Early in round 3, it was all Scott Harrison. Combinations, straight punches. He rarely aims to the body. You can see everything is to the head. Mix in a right uppercut to the body. Very high percentage of scoring for Harrison. And later in the round, McCullough comes back. He's had single moments. There's a nice right hand, but he fell off balance after he threw the right hand. And a big left hook by McCullough. Again, Wayne is not a puncher. He's not going to get rid of Harrison with one shot. Furious action at the end of round 3.
And McCullough, the valiant warrior, smiling back at Harrison during that first flurry by Scott Harrison.
You might have seen Cheryl point to her chin a little bit when we showed her on camera. I think she was telling her husband, keep your chin down.
Good advice. Underway round 4, scheduled for 12 for the WBO Featherweight Championship. Scott Harrison, the local favorite, the champion in the black trunks. Wayne McCullough, the former bantamweight champ, in the silver.
Harrison in total control, Steve. The only danger I think he faces right now is if he poops out from setting a fast pace, but the pace is controlled. I think it's to his liking.
The perception is that Harrison is coming up from bantamweight, but actually coming down. 2 minutes left in round 4. Take a look at the punch count through 3, Steve.
Well, McCullough almost matching Harrison, but the percentage of lands clearly in Harrison's favor, and his punches have been harder.
And McCullough during that landed a right hand, but there's a wide right that connects by Harrison. McCullough playing around. Harrison continues to land.
A lot of control and a lot of cool by Harrison. When McCullough plays around, he's not losing his cool. He's not going for the KO. He knows he's in with a guy who's going to be there for 12 rounds.
And every once in a while, McCullough does get a right hand in. Like right there and there. Back comes Harrison with a combination. Again. The question is, can Harrison sustain it?
Well, McCullough's coming on just a little bit this round, but again, he's still eating shots. Everything Harrison throws lands.
Another right hand that bounced off the chin of McCullough. Now a left by Harrison. So many of these punches by Harrison getting through. Of McCullough.
And McCullough's face starting to swell, Steve.
Yeah, around the right eye, see the redness forming. And it's only the 4th round.
How are you? We cut it up. Got a little nip on the eye. Give me that, son. Give me that. Pocket, I can crawl up on him, I can do everything, but I gotta keep my hands up. I gotta feint him, I gotta crawl up on him, I gotta step around. He's very basic, but he's strong and busy. And you gotta be able to last this tempo for 12 rounds. Okay? Okay? All right, okay. Give me the jab. And in exchange, you got to take them shots to the body, right? But, okay, don't let him come in the centre. You can't box going back. No strong, but you can't box going back. You're catching them with crank shots here. Right hooks, left hooks. Remember, the straightest punch in the book is a straight. The fastest punch in the book is a straight punch.
Right there.
Okay. Like he's doing low. A good round here. I want a good round in here, Scott.
Kenny Kroom in the corner of Wayne McCullough, a disciple of the legendary Eddie Futch, McCullough's old coach. And with Wayne, Kenny Kroom since 1995, he said that Harrison was basic but strong and busy.
And you can't help but wonder. Eddie Futch passed away shortly after McCullough's fight with Zaragoza. He hasn't had him in his corner since. No disrespect to Kenny Kroom, was a good Vegas trainer, but you have to wonder. Futch was the best there ever was. Where would Wayne be? Where would he have been a few years ago if Futch had not passed away?
Round 5 scheduled for 12. Scott Harrison has been in command. Atmosphere here at Braehead Arena, an ice hockey arena on the outskirts of Glasgow near the airport. Right hand over the top by Harrison, and they're chanting and rooting on their hometown favorite of the Black Trunks, Scott Harrison, in his first title defense. Wayne McCullough, the former bantamweight champ, in his 4th fight back since a comeback when he was medically cleared after a discovery of a cyst on his brain a few years ago.
Steve, after 4 rounds, I have Harrison 40-36. You can make the argument McCullough won the 4th. That would be the only round you might give him. This fight has not gone the way we figured, although this round there is a subtle difference in McCullough. He's not backing up at all. He's staying in the pocket. Still getting out punched because Harrison hits harder.
Both looking very determined, very confident. No matter what the score might be. Harrison lands with a left-right combination upstairs to the head. Back comes McCullough with a left hook to the head. Another left hook by McCullough. Well, he is game.
And as the rounds mount, you wonder, this crowd, which hasn't really quieted since the opening bell, will they energize Scott Harrison? Give him a 2nd and a 3rd win?
Landing repeatedly with the right. That right has been an effective weapon for the champion throughout the fight. Another right hand that tagged a defenseless Wayne McCullough. Wide open for that shot. Harrison going to the jab, a right uppercut that missed.
Steve, when we had Harrison on Showbox, he said he never watched tapes. He watched tapes of McCullough, and I think it shows.
Combination foul. Simple combination, isn't it? Under control. Simple combination. Simple combination, Scott. Got to think about it.
Scott Harrison, from the beginning, has been smart enough to throw several shots at one time. I've made the comment that Harrison is the harder puncher. You wouldn't think a fighter with only 9 knockouts in 20 fights would be a harder puncher. The reason he's a harder puncher, he's a bigger man, and he's a stronger puncher. And that effect is showing on Wayne McCullough's face. He's taking those right hands flush. His left eye is swelling, his right eye is swelling. That could be a big problem. Wayne is not a bleeder, and he doesn't go down, never been down as a pro, but can he take this to 12 rounds?
And Steve, while McCullough's punches may be coming in more volume, it's Harrison's punches that are more effective. Round 6. Both missing wildly.
Harrison has to remember to use that jab.
sting the challenger. A very interested observer in the crowd here tonight is Johnny Tapia, who would love to fight the winner of this particular bout. And right now it's looking like Scott Harrison, if it ended right now.
McCullough's hands were down. The referee almost had an excuse to stop it. He might have been able to do it with justification there.
Less than a minute to go in round 6. Despite the damage, McCullough tries to march on.
And at this point, McCullough has been reduced to a puncher without the punch.
Low blow there by Harrison.
Very nice sense of pace by Harrison. He knows who he's in with. He knows that McCullough just doesn't go that fast, and he's taking his time. That's the right way to go.
The champion into a nice rhythm. Big round for Scott Harrison with 10 seconds remaining. Pushing the challenger all over the ring.
Water. Hey, Pocket. Come on, guys. You gotta give me some help. Right. Pocket. I need to be able to go to him with my hands up. I can't drop my hands, and I gotta roll my head and start going to him. Okay? I gotta push him back with the jab. He's doing everything wide and heavy, Pocket. Everything's wide to the top. But I gotta roll. I gotta keep my chin down and my head down.
Harrison lands his best right hands of the fight in this round. McCullough's left hand is down low, and at this point, McCullough looks every bit a desperate fighter. When he dropped his hands right there, I thought Coyle might have called it a night.
What in the world is holding McCullough up?
Scary.
His wife, manager Cheryl McCullough, hoping for a dramatic turnaround.
But she was talking there to Johnny Tapia, his wife Teresa, 2 female fight managers.
A rare scenario in boxing. Wives and managers.
Sounds like a Woody Allen title, wives and managers.
And both have had very rocky careers. So they are commiserating, perhaps. Underway round 7, scheduled for 12. Scott Harrison coming off his best round. Can McCullough bounce back? McCullough almost out on his feet in round 6. And it would have been her first had he gone down. 29 fights for McCullough, 26-3. Harrison in the black trunks, 18-1-1, 9 knockouts. He's the champion.
Steve, can a fighter have too much guts, too much heart for his own good? I don't know. And Wayne, you think no, but in Wayne McCullough's case, at this point in his career, you have to wonder. Through 6 rounds, the numbers are remarkably close. Of course, if you knew beforehand that Harrison would outpunch McCullough at all, you'd say he had a big edge. But the connects, only about 37, 38 more connects for Harrison. When McCullough's head snaps back from those shots, though, you have to give Harrison the edge and give him the rounds.
And the champion did land 14 more in round 6 than the challenger, 30-16. But his punch is a lot harder. Scott Harrison. McCullough has to be feeling the effects.
McCullough boxing in that zone. He's just at an arm's length away from Harrison. The worst place he could be. He's not close enough to land too often to the body, although he just did there, and he's not far enough away to be out of the range of Harrison's long straight punches.
McCullough just spiraled a right uppercut underneath. Beautiful shot to the chin of Harrison. But he did not follow it up. Doesn't look like one punch is going to do it in this fight. Not with these chins. McCullough mounting an attack. Oh, a heavy right hand to the side of the head by Harrison.
Now Harrison going downstairs, Steve, mixing the attack. Wayne doesn't know where it's coming from anymore.
Harrison coming at him from all angles. Really confusing McCullough. Well, we talked about him a moment ago. How do you sum up Johnny Tapia? 3 words: Mi vida loca. Now, one of the greatest boxing ovations I ever heard at York Hall in London in a fight we had on Showtime January 2002 against Eduardo Alvarez. Boy, they love him not only in his hometown of Albuquerque, but overseas as well. And he may be thinking, I may get a shot at Scott Harrison if he wins this fight.
There's plenty of water in the other bottle. In the big bottle, there's plenty of water in there.
We'll take that off next round, okay?
Okay, listen. Give me a little rhythm with my hands up this one. Don't so much gamble, but keep my hands up. See where we at, okay? Huh? See where we at. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Seemed like a look of frustration on the face of Wayne McCullough as he tries to come back in round 8. Unofficially, it's a little past the halfway point, but how did you have it? How do you have it now?
70-62 for Harrison. I've given him every round, and I scored the 6th round 10-8. That was a brutal round with a brutal exchange. Actually, it wasn't an exchange, it was all Harrison.
Very unusual without a knockdown in a 10-8 round. But Harrison just overwhelmed McCullough and nearly had him down in round 6. All of the 3 losses by McCullough, championship fights, and here you see 9-3 past round 7. Harrison undefeated, 7-0 in this scenario. McCullough just walked into a short right. Prognosticated before the fight, it didn't take a genius to figure that McCullough would be there to be hit.
And McCullough, you can almost see it. Big right hand. He's trying to buy time, trying to figure out what to do. He's a grizzled veteran. He can't figure out what to do. It's got to be frustrating.
Oh, terrific right, resounding right that staggered the challenger momentarily with a lot of time left in the 8th round, a minute 20. What's holding McCullough as he gets pushed? John Quayle says fight on. Oh, he was awfully close to stopping it.
And I wonder if the corner is thinking about stopping it. We know what Futch did with Joe Frazier and Manila. This is a fight on a much lower level, of course, but you wonder if Kenny Kroom would have that in the back of his mind to rescue his gallant fighter, because Wayne McCullough is not ever going to quit.
This crowd at a fever pitch as Harrison continues to register bombs on the head of McCullough. amazing resolve. Low blow by McCullough.
Getting hit, okay? You gotta stop getting hit. You gotta pick up your hands, baby. Come on, come on. You're doing basic stuff, Parker, right in front of you. You ain't giving him nothing back. Watch your back. Parker. Watch him out. Parker. You're not giving him nothing back. Now, you hear me? You're not giving him nothing back. He's walking straight to you, doing everything he wants to do. I gotta walk him into something, Parker. Okay.
It's hard to take the credit away from Harrison, but when you see this kind of action and you see these kind of shots, you just have to ask, is Wayne McCullough's heart bigger than his entire body? I mean, how many fighters could take this kind of abuse and not only take it, but punch back as hard as he possibly can? Right now, he's just trying to buy time, and then he starts punching back. Amazing.
Time is running out, and Wayne McCullough's last chance for glory. As we enter round 9, McCullough on the receiving end of a tremendous amount of punishment by the champion Scott Harrison.
And Steve, certainly no hint in the corner, no talk of, you know, even threatening to stop, to pull the plug. Harrison threw 116 punches, connected on 43. All power shots, I would think, are just about all power shots.
McCullough.
And McCullough, 12 for 57. Almost double the output by Harrison in round 8.
And not to be redundant, but when you add to the equation that Harrison's punches are more effective and stronger, it makes it even worse for McCullough.
Yeah, Harrison's not a big puncher, but he's strong for the weight, and he throws very straight punches. In that sense, he's a typical European fighter, stands up, doesn't throw wide shots, and he gets close enough to his opponent before he fires, which makes his accuracy that much better.
And he is just outworking McCullough. Usually it's the other way around. But what heart by McCullough. Still throwing jabs. It's been a clean fight, just a couple of little infractions. Some low blows, some spinning around, holding.
And virtually no infighting. Somewhat of a surprise there.
Hammering rights here by Harrison.
Harrison taking the round off a little bit, content to just jab and keep a distance.
Harrison perhaps refueling those. He's way ahead. Getting a second win. Picks it up towards the end of the round. Right hand on the ear by Harrison. That troubled McCullough.
Give it up.
The left hook to the jaw by Harrison. And another left jab that got the attention of McCullough. Showtime Championship Boxing returns in a couple of weeks for the second of our 2 consecutive shows from the UK, this time from Manchester, England.
Showtime Championship Boxing presents the Hitman, Ricky Hatton. He has the wins, the knockouts, and the perfect record. Now he's facing his toughest opponent, former champ Vince Phillips. Can the Hitman become the man in the junior welterweight division? Hatton versus Phillips, Saturday, April 5th at 11 p.m. Only on Showtime, America's #1 boxing network.
Well, there's a pretty good chance we'll have the same amount of action 2 weeks from tonight as you look at Britain's biggest young star, Ricky Hatton, making the 200-mile trip from Manchester to Glasgow. Here in the UK, they're calling the fight with Phillips Hatton's most serious challenge. You agree?
Oh, no doubt about it. And I think Ricky Hatton's learning a little something here about what pro boxing at the top level is all about.
So we look forward to seeing the Hitman in 2 weeks against former champ Vince Phillips from Manchester. Round 10. Harrison took some of that ground off. He finished strong and he picks up where he left off. McCullough way behind, but showing incredible heart. Shots to the head there by Harrison.
Where McCullough jabs, Harrison jabs, crosses, and jabs again.
Heavy right hand over the top by Harrison. He moves inside now. Another big right hand off the top of McCullough's head. Ringing shots off McCullough's head. Oh, a big right hand by Harrison again. And John Coyle very close. And McCullough not replying. No response.
A fight like this and a fighter like McCullough is a referee's worst nightmare because he keeps firing back. A mercy stoppage wouldn't be the worst thing in the world here. And McCullough, in round 9, only landed 11 punches. Is he in the fight anymore?
Very unlike McCullough. It's been all Scott Harrison. And if there was one more big flurry by Scott Harrison, I wouldn't argue with a stoppage by John Coyle. I would not argue with a stoppage. Because at this point, it just looks academic. And why allow him to be punished some more? Wayne McCullough. But again, his reputation precedes him, and that is what is getting the respect of John Coyle. That, I think, a big point in why he hasn't stopped this.
Well, at this level, a referee should know the styles and the histories of the fighters. You don't treat Wayne McCullough the same way you treat a 4-round club fighter, and Coyle is not. Is he going too far the other way? That's the question.
John Coyle, of course, our last trip to Glasgow, June 2000, embroiled in controversy with the Tyson-Savarese fight when Coyle was taken down by Tyson, along with Savarese, of course, in the first round.
What round is that, guys?
That was 10.
That was 10. Okay, 11 round coming up.
Harrison has been fairly predictable in his attack. Well, actually, we lead with a right uppercut there, but otherwise it's been left, right, no body punches, and Wayne's still getting hit. At this point, it's as much because his hands are down as it is because he's not moving his head. It's a no-win situation for McCullough when he punches. He's not in position to block any punches, and he gets hit flush.
Round 11 of this WBO Featherweight Championship. Scott Harrison in the black, in control. A very, very game Wayne McCullough. Obviously needs to knock the champion out for a victory.
This is is all about pride now, Steve. It really is.
For McCullough just to at least make it to the final bell.
And McCullough told us he wants to fight 3-4 more years. My question is, hey, the featherweight division's loaded. Harrison is not even considered one of the top 3 champions at this point. And if McCullough can't fight competitively with Harrison, what's the point in continuing?
And here, look at the championship rounds. Harrison undefeated at 5-0, and all 3 of McCullough's defeats, all world championship fights, came past the 10th. He lost all 3 on points. McCullough's latest knockout, in case you were wondering, came in round 7. Boy, does he need one here. Look at McCullough's face. Bruised. Swollen. Red.
Well, we've made mention a lot about McCullough's heart. How about his legs? I mean, this is a guy who has, every time he's ever fought, he's been in great shape. He lives a very, very clean life. He's 32. That's not that young for the lighter weights. And he's still moving in there.
There's no arguing his conditioning. Always fit. He stayed in the gym all the time, even during the long layoff of 2+ years. Why, the first thing he did when he was medically cleared was go to the gym.
And I don't buy any rust factor with McCullough. I know it's been 3+ years since he's fought a world-class featherweight. But something happened in the first round, and I think we know what it was. Harrison landed some big shots, and McCullough decided Harrison was too strong to go after. And it's been one-sided ever since.
Another ferocious right over the top to the head. Most of the worst shots offered up by Harrison have been to McCullough's head.
McCullough's left ear is sort of angled at into a weird angle. The right ear isn't, and that's from taking so many right hands on the ear.
I just noticed that. The viewers at home can clearly see the left ear of Wayne McCullough is not where it was when this fight started, clearly. It has been rearranged. Usually you see that with noses, but tonight with an ear. Right on the neck, a big right hand at the bell by Harrison.
That was 11 round. Target. Last round coming up, right? Okay. I gotta gamble with my life right here, baby, okay? I gotta put my feet up under me, my chin on my chest, and I gotta go out there and try to make something happen, right? Okay? My feet I gotta be light on my feet. That's too slow. Okay.
Harrison does have a 12th round knockout. His only fight KO past 6. But McCullough fighting on pride here. Just wants to make it to the last bell. And looking for a little magic. A dramatic knockout.
And how many fighters taking this kind of beating would give up and go into defensive mode or survival mode? McCullough's still trying to win.
No question. So gallant, courageous. He's lost almost every round, and he's tasted a lot of leather, absorbed a lot of punishment, particularly to the head area. His left ear is bent.
Harrison might not be the fastest featherweight in the world. He might not be the hardest puncher, but this was a marvelously controlled performance, consistent, round after round. He never changed up. He did what was working. He kept his composure and he kept his concentration.
A brilliant display by the champion Scott Harrison, who comes off an impressive win to win the title over Julio Pablo Chacon some 6 months ago in this very ring, and he follows it up with another stupendous performance.
And what this fight does for fans, hey, nobody's going to say Harrison's the best featherweight in the world, obviously, but it makes you want to see him with the best featherweights in the world.
Marco Antonio Barrera, he's calling out his name even though he's not champion. He thinks he's the best at 126. Eric Morales. Derek Gainer, Raul Marquez, the other champions at this weight. We approach the final 20 seconds, and you will hear a roar from this crowd when the bell sounds.
Tremendous win for Harrison. No doubt on the cards. It's just a question of whether the judges gave McCullough any of the 12 rounds.
Final seconds. A glorious moment for Scott Harrison and a valiant one for Wayne McCullough.
Harrison dominating with his straight punches from beginning to end.
Frank Maloney, the manager of Scott Harrison, with the hug. And Scott Harrison being saluted by this fervent crowd of around 6,000 sellout here at Brayhead. Hugs all around, embraces for Scott Harrison, who undoubtedly retained his WBO featherweight title in front of his adoring hometown fans here in Glasgow, Scotland, to be his first successful defense, doing it against a gallant former world champion who just stood in there and took a lot of punishment. Harrison high-fiving, fans in the crowd. He'll go to 19-1-1, and the crowd continues to sing and chant. A courageous Wayne McCullough, obviously with a damaged left ear, and his wife/manager Cheryl McCullough. The daughter Winona, almost 5, I understand, on hand somewhere here in the crowd. Had to be difficult for her to watch. Bright young girl.
Boy, imagine Cheryl McCullough and Teresa Tapia going out for a beer. Could they tell some more stories?
No question about that. And Johnny Tapia, a very interested observer. I think he's trying to get into the ring right now. He would love to fight the winner. And he gives a big hug to his buddy Wayne McCullough.
Las Vegas neighbors.
Yes. So we're standing by for the official announcement. Peter Harrison with his son Scott Harrison. And it looks like a clear-cut decision here from Glasgow, Scotland. We're set to get it up to our ring announcer for the official word, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. We have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Andre van Grutenbroel, scores the bout 119-109. Judge Mickey Van sees the bout 119-108. And judge at ringside, Dr. Ruben Garcia, sees the bout 120-108. All three in favor of the winner, and still champion, the real McCoy, Scott Harrison.
So a near shutout, a completely lopsided one-sided decision for Scott Harrison. Well, he didn't become the first fighter to stop Wayne McCullough, but he sure beat him convincingly.
This was a litmus test for Harrison. He passed this test beautifully. There will be many more tests ahead in the talent-laden featherweight division.
Yeah, he said he really wants to go at it with Marco Antonio Barrera. He must have mentioned his name 10 times in our fighter meeting yesterday. That's his main goal. And now a big hand for Wayne McCullough, led by Scott Harrison.
And Steve, Harrison threw almost 300 more punches than McCullough and landed almost 200 more. That tells you all you need to know.
So as Harrison does a victory lap with his championship belt, let's go inside the rope with Steve Farhood.
Inside the ropes was a dangerous place, as it turned out, for Wayne McCullough to be. Scott Harrison, wonderfully consistent, every punch straight, his hooks short, but in reality, even though he dominated the action in virtually every round, he won the fight in round 1 by proving to McCullough, I'm the stronger fighter, I'm the harder puncher. McCullough had no choice but to box, and that was not his way to go for a victory.
And a phenomenal work rate, volume of punches. The thing that really sticks out is Harrison's connect rate. Nearly 400 punches landed of better than 1,000 thrown. Let's check out the scoring. How it went for Harrison McCullough, a virtual shutout, as you can see, 120-108, 119-109, and 119-108. Harrison's best rounds were rounds 6 and 8, and I believe you had round 6, 10-8 for Harrison, even though there was no knockdown.
Steve, I had 6 and round 8, 10-8 for McCullough. A little more liberal use of the 10-point must system. I had a 120-106 for Harrison.
And with that, Steve, we're set now for post-fight reaction, so let's go over to Colin Hart.
Thanks, Steve. And here we have the champion, of course, Scott Harrison. Scott, did you think it was going to be that easy?
It was a tough fight. He's got a terrific chin, and I was sitting with some hard combinations, and he just kept coming back. But I thought I was using my jab, and the strategy was working. We just putting the combinations together, and everything just worked on the night. But he had a terrific chin.
Yeah, so you don't know what kept him up?
Don't know what kept him up. I thought the referee could have stopped in the later part of the fight, but I mean, that's the referee's job.
Did you think perhaps the corner should have pulled him out?
I thought the corner should have pulled him out because he was taking some heavy shots, and I mean, he's a gutsy guy, and there's no way he was going to go down, you know. So it's up to the corner.
Now, you said you would stop him in 8 or 9, and he went 12. Obviously you were surprised he went the full distance.
I thought he was going to go about 8 or 9. It looked as if he had nothing left, and but he took some terrific punches. But I mean, he's tougher than I thought.
Now, you said before the fight that you thought you were ready for Marco Antonio Barrera. Has anything happened tonight to make you change your mind? Would you like Barrera next?
I'll fight Marco Antonio Barrera next. I mean, MD's got a reputation in the featherweight division. I want to fight him. I want to put on good fights for the fans, and I'll fight him in the world.
Now, we've got your promoter, Frank Warren, here. Frank, you know, fighters want to fight King Kong if they could. What do you think about his next moves? What do you hope for him?
I think Scott would beat Barrera. I've said that for a while now. I think he's got the beat in most of the, and I've got a lot of respect for Marco Antonio Barrera. But I think he would beat him. I think he is the best featherweight in the world. He's the most improved, and he's not really been under any pressure yet. Every fight he's had, he's got better and better. He's strong, he's rugged. I thought, like you, the fight should have been stopped earlier on, but it wasn't. But he's still there, fresh as a daisy, and it's going to have to be an exceptional fighter to beat him. And at the moment, we're looking at Johnny Tapia.
Thank you, guys. And now back to Steve.
Thank you very much, Colin. Want to point out Wayne McCullough had to be tended to in the dressing room with injuries, so he was unable to join Colin Hart for a post-fight interview. As we wind things down, here's a final reminder of what's coming up in the near future here on Showtime. On Saturday, April 5th, Ricky the Hitman Hatton steps up the competition as he faces former world champ Cool Vince Phillips. On the undercard, Junior Winter takes on Jürgen Heck in a 12-round affair. And catch some of the best young talent in boxing on ShowBox, the new generation, at its new day and time, beginning Thursday, April 24th at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, and airing every other Thursday at 11 p.m. It's boxing the way it used to be. And recapping earlier tonight, the fight you just saw in our main event hometown, hero Scott Harrison retained his WBO featherweight crown by beating former world champion Wayne McCullough. That'll do it from Braehead Arena. For Steve Farhood, Colin Hart, our entire crew, Steve Albert saying so long from Glasgow, Scotland.